When I discovered that my wife Amanda had been cheating on me, my heart shattered into a million pieces. We had been married for 7 years, and I had always believed in the sanctity of our vows. But one fateful evening, while cleaning out the attic, I stumbled upon a hidden phone with messages that would unravel everything I thought I knew. The words were casual yet charged, filled with flirtations and plans to meet. I felt a storm of emotions: betrayal, anger, and sadness washed over me like a tidal wave. But rather than confront her in a fit of rage, I decided to take a different approach. My plan was to switch places with Amanda. I would convince her to take a vacation, all while I assumed her identity, causing chaos in her affair and forcing her to confront the consequences of her actions. The idea took shape slowly, but the more I thought about it, the more it excited me. This was my chance to expose her for who she really was and reclaim my life. I spent the next few days meticulously planning the switch. I noticed how Amanda often spoke of wanting to escape the daily grind, to get away from work and the responsibilities that weighed her down. I decided to use this to my advantage. I casually mentioned a last-minute vacation, framing it as a much-needed break for her. "You deserve it, Amanda. Why don't you take a few days off? I'll handle everything here," I suggested. To my surprise, she eagerly agreed, thinking it was a chance for some fun and relaxation. I watched as she packed her bags, a sense of satisfaction bubbling within me. Little did she know, her vacation would not be what she expected. On the day of her departure, I made the arrangements for my transformation. I took a long shower and meticulously styled my hair to match her appearance. I borrowed some of her clothes, and after a little makeup, I was able to pass for Amanda reasonably well. I knew her routines, her friends, and the general expectations she faced every day. This was going to be the ultimate switch. The moment she left, I felt an adrenaline rush as I took on her life. I quickly texted her lover, Jake, a smooth-talking guy she had met at work, using her phone. "Hey babe, I just landed at the hotel. Can't wait to see you." I could hardly contain my laughter as I sent the message, knowing that chaos was about to ensue. As I settled into her life, I started scrolling through her social media, posting pictures of our home life with vague but suggestive captions, letting everyone think I was still Amanda. Jake responded almost immediately, asking if he should come over that evening. I could feel my heart racing in anticipation. I didn't have to wait long. He arrived at our house, wearing that arrogant smile I had grown to despise. I was ready. When Jake walked in, he was greeted by the familiar ambience of our home. "Amanda. You're looking good," he said, eyeing me up and down, completely unaware of the deception unfolding before him. I played the part perfectly, letting the fake smile spread across my face. "Oh, you know how it is," I replied, my voice mimicking hers as closely as possible. "I've missed you. I thought we could have a little fun now that I'm all alone." The surprise on his face morphed into intrigue, and I could see him falling for the trap I had set. The moment felt surreal. I was living a double life, and I couldn't help but revel in it. As we settled into the living room, I began to casually drop hints about my plans, teasing him about how I wanted to take our relationship to the next level. "You know, it's so freeing to finally be away from everything. I just want to live in the moment," I said, leaning closer to him. The tension was palpable as I watched him lean in, his ego swelling with each compliment I showered upon him. He was completely oblivious to the fact that he was being played. Meanwhile, Amanda was enjoying her vacation, blissfully unaware of the chaos back home. I made sure to keep her in the loop with carefully crafted texts, pretending to be her while I orchestrated this elaborate charade. I relished in the knowledge that while she was sipping cocktails by the beach, I was the one turning her life upside down. The evening progressed, and as I prepared dinner, I knew that the moment of truth was approaching. I had concocted a plan to expose Amanda for the fraud she was. As we sat down to eat, I began to grill Jake about his intentions and feelings, playing the part of the curious girlfriend. "Do you ever think about the future?" I asked, looking deeply into his eyes. "Where do you see us heading?" He chuckled, clearly flattered by the question. "Honestly, I think we could have something amazing. You're everything I've been looking for." His words struck a chord within me. This was the man who had so easily slipped into my wife's life, betraying the vows we had made. I felt a mix of anger and satisfaction as I realized how easily he was being manipulated. "Really," I pressed, my voice dripping with faux innocence. "You wouldn't mind if I shared this with Amanda, would you? After all, I wouldn't want her to miss out on all this happiness." Jake's expression shifted, and for the first time I saw a flicker of fear in his eyes. "What do you mean?" he stammered, suddenly uncomfortable. "Oh, I just thought she would love to hear how well things are going between us," I said, leaning back and enjoying the look of confusion on his face. "She'd probably want to come home early to celebrate." With that, I pulled out my phone and texted Amanda, "Jake is here, and he's spilling all his feelings for you. You might want to hurry back." A moment later, I could see the panic wash over Jake's face. "Wait, you can't do that. What if she finds out?" he said, his bravado slipping. I grinned, relishing in the chaos I was creating. "Oh, I think it's time for her to know the truth about her little secret." As the realization sunk in, I watched Jake scramble for a way out. "This isn't how it's supposed to be," he exclaimed, trying to backtrack. "I thought you were on vacation." "Not quite," I replied coolly. "You see, I've been living your dream, and now it's time for Amanda to face the music." Just then, my phone buzzed with an incoming text from Amanda. "What are you talking about?" I couldn't help but chuckle. "Looks like the vacation is over, sweetheart," I said, my voice filled with a mixture of triumph and malice. As I prepared to send her the juicy details of our dinner, I felt a surge of satisfaction. I had taken the reins of my life back from the chaos Amanda had created. I wanted her to feel the weight of her choices, to understand that actions have consequences. After a few tense minutes, Amanda arrived home, confusion etched on her face. "What's going on?" she demanded, looking between Jake and me. "Welcome back," I exclaimed, unable to contain my amusement. "We were just having a little chat about loyalty and trust." The shock on her face was priceless as she registered the scene unfolding before her. "You're supposed to be on vacation," she shouted at Jake, anger bubbling beneath the surface. I stepped aside and let the drama unfold. "Amanda, let me introduce you to your lover, who has just admitted that he's been dreaming about a future with you." Jake's face paled as Amanda's eyes turned to him, filled with betrayal and disbelief. "You told me you loved me," she accused, her voice rising. I thought you were gone," he stuttered, backpedaling quickly. "I didn't mean for you to find out like this." The chaos that ensued was a whirlwind of accusations and confrontations. Amanda's world was spiraling out of control as she tried to salvage her pride and defend her actions. I stood back, reveling in the moment as the truth began to sink in for both of them. "I can't believe this is happening," Amanda said, her voice shaking with emotion. "You tricked me, all for what? To get back at me." "Not just to get back at you, Amanda. This is about exposing the consequences of your actions," I replied, my voice steady. "You think you can just walk away from this without repercussions? Well, welcome to your reality." As the confrontation escalated, Amanda turned to Jake, her desperation evident. "How could you do this to me?" she cried. "I thought we had something special." "I didn't know this would happen," Jake shouted back, frustration coloring his tone. "I thought you were actually going to break up with him." The realization of what had transpired began to settle in. I watched as Amanda's facade crumbled, her bravado melting away as the weight of her choices bore down on her. I had successfully turned her world upside down, forcing her to confront the reality of her actions. With emotions running high, I decided it was time to exit the scene. "You both have a lot to figure out," I said, my voice calm. "I suggest you have a real conversation about what this all means." As I walked out the door, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. I had taken control of my narrative, flipping the script on the betrayal that had torn me apart. The chaos I had created would serve as a painful reminder for Amanda, one that would force her to face the consequences of her actions head-on. In the weeks that followed, I focused on rebuilding my own life. I started pursuing hobbies I had long neglected, rekindled friendships, and even began dating again. The transformation I had undergone was profound. I was no longer a victim of Amanda's infidelity, but rather a man who had reclaimed his power. As for Amanda and Jake, I later heard through mutual friends that their relationship crumbled under the weight of the lies and betrayal. Amanda was left to pick up the pieces of her life, forced to confront the consequences of her actions. In the end, I had not only transformed my own life, but had also orchestrated a scenario that forced Amanda to confront her choices. It was a painful experience, but it led to growth, understanding, and a renewed sense of self. I learned that sometimes the best way to reclaim your life is to turn the tables and expose the truth, no matter how chaotic it may be. and while I would never forget the hurt she caused, I emerged stronger and more resilient, ready to embrace the next chapter of my life.